Hello, my name is Nathaniel Lee, and this is my application for G4K showing the introduction to software design and a JavaScript quiz. How do I know what G4K want? G4K want an informative game for children aged 9 and above that is about JavaScript. In order to find out what they want, we have to research about the company, such as observations and questionnaires. Methods institutions use to find out what their clients want. One of these methods are FAST1. The FAST1 facilitated application specification technique 1. The main priorities of this method: problems in the initial proposal, propose elements of a working solution, setting preliminary objectives and requirements. There are other methods such as FAST2, QFD 1, 2, and 3. They all offer slightly different approaches to determining a client's requirements. However, FAST1 would be the most beneficial in these circumstances. How would you engage with G4K to show progress? The main way to demonstrate progress is to use the creation of a Gantt chart. However, storyboards are also an effective way to show progress. Gantt charts are useful to organize time and show the complexity of a project. They have to structure and plan. And give set deadlines for certain tasks, and show the amount of time each task will take. However, Gantt charts do have some disadvantages. They can become very complicated if a task is too long or full of lots of small tasks. Gantt charts can become very big and difficult to manage when they take up more than one page. And Gantt charts only display the length of time needed to complete a task and do not show the difficulty, complexity, or number of staff needed to complete the task. However, because this project is not overly complex, have many staff involved, a Gantt chart would show progress and would meet the demand of the project. Therefore, a Gantt chart is the selected way to show progress. The quiz will be structured with 3 levels. Each level will contain 5 questions. Each level will also have a set topic, with level 1 being JavaScript fundamentals, level 2 being JavaScript coding questions, and level 3 being JavaScript error finding. There may be an adjustment to the amount of questions in each level or the amount of levels in the final product. How will you test your game? Testing is a mandatory and fundamental part of the process. There are many methods of testing contemplated for this project. They are white box testing, beta testing, and regression testing. White box testing is a testing method in which the tester has access to the source code and has to ensure that all the code is correct and working properly. Black box testing is the opposite of white box testing. The test has access to only the game and has to play it to find errors or glitches with the game. They do not have access to the source code. Beta testing is similar to black box testing in that people have to play the game to find glitches or recommend any improvements to the game. Beta testing is conducted by the public. Box testing is conducted by a specific tester. Beta testing is becoming more and more popular as more people's opinions generally create a better product. The last testing method that has been discussed and considered is the regression testing method. This method recognizes that fixing current code problems often creates new problems in the code. To prevent a new error occurring, the tester will rerun the software to ensure it still works correctly. This can become costly because rerunning the software takes up a lot of time, which can cost the more money. The two testing methods that have been selected for this project is testing. These testing methods have been selected as they will reduce the number of errors in the program to a minimum and ensure the game works properly. Also, this method can be undertaken by less people than another method such as beta testing, which would require many people to conduct effectively. What methods have been used to find out what we know? One of the methodologies that have been used to find out what we know in this project was RAD development process. That's for Rapid Application Development Process. RAD is a fast development process that puts less emphasis on planning and more emphasis on actual development, comparatively to a traditional method such as waterfall, which when it was first created was initially used for the creation of buildings, which was tweaked for software development. Whereas rapid application development was developed specifically for software. RAD allows developers to stay on one stage of the development process until it has been completed. However, it has a strict timeline, and the timeline process will be repeated until that stage has been finished. There are 5 stages of the RAD approach: gathering requirements, prototyping, software components, a rigidly placed schedule, and less formality in reviews. 5 elements of RAD approach, sorry. How you selected your programming language. There were 2 possible programming languages that were going to be considered: JavaScript and PHP. The programming language that was selected was JavaScript. This is because I personally have the most experience with JavaScript. JavaScript is an appropriate language to create a JavaScript quiz with, as it's client side, which means things like hiding, showing text is much easier to do, which is as pop-ups and things, and hidden images will be much easier to display. Finally, this is a self-assessment about myself and about this module. Before this module and course, I had very little prior experience with programming language. I had a very basic knowledge of HTML and C++, but this was not at any sort of useful level. This module was particularly challenging, however very rewarding personally, and I've learned a lot. I'm sure the second half of the module will continue to be very rewarding. So far in this module, we have learned pieces, HTML, JavaScript, C#, Python, and Scratch, all of which have been interesting and challenging in their own ways. Thanks for listening. This has been my Nathaniel Lee's presentation about JavaScript, about my JavaScript quiz.